Why investing in yourself is the best business. Think about that for a moment. If every business can fail, if every market can collapse, if every economy can crash, there is one investment that never goes bankrupt, and that is you. Most people are busy investing in houses, cars, properties, gadgets, and temporary pleasures. But the truth is, nothing appreciates in value more than your own growth. A phone loses its value the moment you open the box. A car starts depreciating the day you drive it out of the showroom. Even the strongest companies rise and fall, but your skills, your wisdom, your character, your discipline, these only grow with time if you keep nurturing them. When you invest in yourself, you are not just making money. You are building the very foundation that attracts money, opportunities, and respect. A degree might get you a job, but continuous self-investment makes you irreplaceable. A job can be taken away, but your knowledge cannot. A promotion can be delayed, but your growth is always in your hands. Ask yourself, how much money have you spent in the last month on food, entertainment, or shopping? And now ask, how much did you spend on your personal growth? Books, courses, learning, meditation, improving your health, your mindset. Most people hesitate to spend on themselves, yet they wonder why their lives remain stuck. Consistency is the secret here. You don't transform overnight by attending one seminar or reading one book. You transform by doing small investments in yourself every single day. Reading for 20 minutes a day, practicing gratitude, exercising regularly, learning a new skill, surrounding yourself with wise people. These are like daily deposits in the bank of your future, and here is the beauty. The interest rate on this bank is infinite. The greatest leaders, the most successful entrepreneurs, the most peaceful saints all had one thing in common. They invested in themselves before the world ever invested in them. They worked on their minds when no one was watching. They sharpened their skills when no one was clapping, and because of that hidden investment, the world later celebrated them. Remember, your future will not be built by luck. It will be built by the seeds you plant in yourself today. Every skill you learn is a tool. Every habit you build is an asset. Every positive thought you cultivate is a shield, and every act of discipline is a weapon against mediocrity. So don't wait for the right time, because the right time is now. Don't wait for someone else to believe in you. Be your first and strongest investor. Invest in your health, because without it wealth is meaningless. Invest in your character, because without it success is shallow. Invest in your mindset, because without it opportunities slip away. The world may give you a job, but only you can give yourself growth. The world may hand you a paycheck, but only you can build self-worth. And the world may forget you, but if you invest in yourself, you will never forget the power you carry within. So today make a decision, not tomorrow, not someday. Today, because the best business you can ever start, the most secure investment you can ever make, and the most rewarding journey you can ever take, is the one where you invest in yourself. Self-investment never depreciates. That simple truth has the power to change your entire life if you allow it to sink in. Think about it carefully. Everything you buy, every material possession you hold, every asset you think will stay with you forever eventually loses its shine. A brand new phone feels amazing for a few weeks, but within months, a newer model comes out, and your expensive device suddenly feels outdated. The car you once dreamt of driving begins to look ordinary after a few years, and the resale value drops the moment you drive it out of the showroom. Even the house that feels like the pride of your life requires constant repairs, maintenance, and one day it too will age. But there is one investment that never loses value, never gets old, never goes out of fashion, and never depreciates. And that is the investment you make in yourself. The truth is, most people hesitate to spend time, money, or energy on themselves They will spend hundreds on clothes, but not a few dollars on a book that could shift their mindset. They will spend on fast food, but hesitate to spend on a course that could open doors for their career. They will buy gadgets for entertainment, but not tools for self-growth, and then they wonder why life feels stagnant, why opportunities slip away, and why others seem to be moving ahead. The reality is simple. The external world will always reflect the internal world. If you don't grow within, nothing around you can truly grow. When you invest in yourself, you are not just learning skills, you are building value. You become a person that others look up to, trust, and rely on. Imagine a worker who never updates his knowledge, who sticks to the same way of doing things for decades. Eventually, technology replaces him, younger talent outpaces him, and he becomes irrelevant. Now, imagine another worker who consistently learns new tools, adapts to new environments, and sharpens his craft every year. He becomes indispensable, valued, and irreplaceable. The difference isn't in luck. It isn't in destiny. It is in the decision to invest in oneself. Let me give you a perspective. If you place money in a business, that business can collapse because of market changes, poor decisions, or factors outside your control. If you put money into real estate, it can depreciate if the neighborhood loses value. If you invest in stocks, they may crash with economic turbulence. But if you invest in yourself, your knowledge, your skills, your health, your mindset, it never loses value. In fact, it compounds. The more you invest, the more valuable you become, and the more you can create from within. Let's talk about compounding. Financial advisors tell us that the power of compounding is the greatest secret in building wealth. Small amounts invested regularly grow into huge sums over time. Now imagine the same principle applied to your personal growth. Every page you read adds a layer to your wisdom. Every hour you spend learning adds depth to your skills. Every day you practice self-discipline strengthens your character. These are compounding deposits in the bank of your life. And unlike money, they can never be taken away from you. Think of the greatest leaders, thinkers, and creators in history. They were not born with extraordinary powers. They simply chose to invest in themselves relentlessly. Mahatma Gandhi invested in his discipline and truth. Steve Jobs invested in his creativity and vision. Albert Einstein invested in his curiosity and relentless questioning. Gaur Gopal himself invested in years of study, reflection, and spiritual practice before the world recognized his wisdom. Their greatness did not come overnight, nor was it handed down by luck. It was the result of consistent self-investment that never depreciated. Here is a little story to reflect upon. Imagine two men start their careers at the same time. One says, "I have completed my education. Now I just need to work." The other says, "My real education begins now. I will continue to learn as I work." After 10 years, the first man is stuck in the same position, doing the same tasks, frustrated with no growth. The second man has climbed higher, built influence, and gained financial freedom. Why? Because he understood that self-investment never ends. The day you stop learning is the day you stop growing. And the day you stop growing is the day life begins to shrink. So ask yourself honestly, where are you putting your energy? Are you more focused on buying things that depreciate, or are you consciously building things that appreciate within you? Every expensive meal you eat will be forgotten, but the health you invest in stays with you. Every piece of clothing will fade, but the confidence you build from knowledge shines forever. Every gadget will become outdated, but the wisdom you cultivate is timeless. We must also realize that self-investment is not only intellectual, it's holistic. It includes your mind, your body, your heart, and your soul. Investing in your health through exercise, good food, and rest ensures you have the energy to pursue your dreams. Investing in your mindset through reading, meditation, and reflection ensures you stay strong when life throws challenges at you. Investing in your character through honesty, discipline, and kindness ensures people trust and support you. These are investments no market crash can touch, no recession can steal, and no circumstance can devalue. Another important truth is that when you invest in yourself, the returns are not just personal, they ripple outwards. A teacher who learns becomes a better guide for students. A parent who grows emotionally raises healthier children. A leader who invests in wisdom inspires an entire organization. By improving yourself, you indirectly uplift everyone connected to you. And that is why investing in yourself is not selfish. It is one of the most generous things you can do. Sometimes people say, "I don't have the money to invest in myself." But investment is not always about money. You can invest your time, you can invest your discipline, you can invest your focus, reading a free article, practicing gratitude, reflecting on your actions, taking care of your body. These require little or no money, but they are priceless. If money is available, wonderful, buy that course or that book. But if it's not, don't use that as an excuse to stop investing, because the greatest resource you already have is time, and how you use it determines your growth. Let me remind you, the external world can take away everything, your job, your possessions, your wealth, but no one can take away who you become. If you are skilled, if you are wise, if you are disciplined, you can rebuild everything from scratch. That is why some people bounce back from bankruptcy, from failure, from rejection, while others crumble. The difference lies not in what they had, but in who they had become. So when you think of success, don't think only in terms of money or possessions. Think in terms of value. If you become valuable, the world will always find ways to reward you. Money chases value. Opportunities chase capability. Respect follows character. And all of these are direct results of self-investment. The greatest gift you can give to your future self is to start investing in your present self. One day, 10 years from now, you will look back at today. You will either be grateful that you took the time to grow, or you will regret that you wasted it on meaningless distractions. Choose wisely. Remember this mantra: everything outside depreciates, but what's inside appreciates. Build yourself, because you are the only business that never fails, the only stock that never crashes, and the only asset that always multiplies in value. Consistency is the real compound interest. You and I both know that anyone can start something with excitement. Anyone can make big promises to themselves on the first day of the year. Anyone can set goals after hearing a powerful speech. And anyone can feel motivated when life gives a little push. But the real game is not about starting. It's about continuing. It's not about doing something once, but about doing it every day, even when you don't feel like it. And that, my friends, is the secret difference between ordinary results and extraordinary transformation. Think of compound interest in finance. If you put a small sum of money in the bank and let it compound over years, you will end up with something far greater than what you started with. The growth may look invisible in the beginning. The numbers may look small at first, but as time passes, the growth becomes exponential. Now apply this same principle to life. Consistency is the compound interest of self-growth. A little action repeated daily produces massive results over time. Reading a page a day may look small, but a page a day means a book a year. Exercising for 20 minutes may feel ordinary, but 20 minutes every day is 120 hours a year. Practicing gratitude each morning may feel insignificant, but it rewires your brain into happiness over years. That is the silent power of consistency. But here's the problem. Most people quit too soon. They start with fire and quit when the fire feels less bright. They say, "I tried for a few weeks and nothing happened." They forget that compound interest never shows up in the beginning. It always shows up later. The tree does not grow the day you plant the seed. The fruits don't appear the day you water the soil. It takes nurturing, patience, and persistence. Consistency is about trusting the process even before the results are visible. Let me share a simple analogy. Imagine you are filling a bucket with drops of water. Each drop looks tiny, almost meaningless. But if you keep adding drops consistently day after day, one day the bucket overflows. Growth in life works exactly the same way. Each small effort you make, each book you read, each workout you complete, each positive thought you cultivate is a drop. At first, it feels like nothing is happening. But when the bucket fills, when consistency compounds, the transformation is massive. The tragedy is that many people stop adding drops too soon. They walk away from the bucket when it's half filled, never realizing how close they were to overflow. Consistency is not about intensity, it's about longevity. Some people think transformation means working 12 hours a day for a week, or going on a crash diet for a month, or reading 10 books in 10 days. But the truth is, it's better to work 1 hour a day for a year, to eat healthy daily in moderation, to read 15 minutes a day without fail. Intensity burns you out. Consistency builds you up. The tortoise beats the hare not because it is faster, but because it is steady. Now, here's another story to reflect upon. Two woodcutters were in a competition to see who could cut more wood in a day. The first woodcutter worked non-stop, swinging his axe furiously. The second woodcutter, however, kept taking breaks every hour. At the end of the day, surprisingly, the second woodcutter had cut far more wood. The first asked, "How is this possible? You kept resting while I worked without stopping." The second replied, "I wasn't resting, I was sharpening my axe." Consistency is not just about working blindly. It's about steady, smart actions repeated over time. If you sharpen yourself daily, your skills, your health, your mind, you will always outperform those who burn themselves out with intensity, but never sustain it. We live in a world of instant gratification. We want results now. We want success in 30 days, transformation in 2 weeks, and happiness in 1 click. But life doesn't work that way. Think about fitness. If you go to the gym today and work out for 2 hours, will you see any difference in the mirror tomorrow? Probably not. But if you go to the gym for 20 minutes every day for 6 months, you will see a transformation that others cannot ignore. That's consistency. Or take relationships. If you tell someone you love them once and then disappear, does it work? No. Love is built through consistent acts of care, attention, and respect. One grand gesture does not build trust, but small gestures repeated over years create a bond unshakable by storms. The same is true with your mind. If you meditate once a month, it won't change you. But if you sit quietly for 10 minutes every day, year after year, your inner peace will grow beyond measure. It's not the big things, it's the small things done consistently that make life extraordinary. Now let's bring this back to investing in yourself. Suppose you decide to read 1 book about personal growth. That's wonderful. But reading 1 book and then forgetting about growth won't change much. But if you decide, "I will read for 20 minutes every night," in 5 years you will have consumed more wisdom than most people do in a lifetime. That's compound interest. That's consistency. The same with skill building. Imagine you learn a new word every day, just one word. In a year, you will know 365 new words. In 5 years, you will have a vocabulary of 1,800 new words. That's enough to completely change the way you communicate and influence others. Imagine if you practiced public speaking once a week for a year. By the end of the year, you'd be 10 times more confident than someone who only spoke once in a while. Small, consistent steps outperform random giant leaps every single time. But consistency requires patience and discipline means doing things even when motivation disappears. Motivation is like a spark. It excites you. Discipline is like wood. It keeps the fire alive. If you depend only on motivation, you will stop when the excitement fades. But if you build discipline, you will continue even when you don't feel like it. And that continuation is what compounds into greatness. Sometimes people say, but it's boring to do the same thing every day. And my answer is yes, but it's even more boring to live the same life every year without growth. Would you rather face the boredom of daily discipline or the boredom of lifelong regret? Choose wisely, because the small consistent actions may look boring today, but they will make your future exciting. Let me give you a perspective from nature. A bamboo tree is planted as a seed, watered daily and nurtured for years. Yet nothing grows above the ground for the first 5 years. Imagine the patience required. Most people would quit after a few months thinking it's pointless. But then in the 5th year, the bamboo suddenly shoots up, growing 90 ft in just 6 weeks. Did it grow in 6 weeks? No, it grew in 5 years of unseen, consistent effort underground. Life works exactly the same way. Your results may not be visible immediately, but consistency is building roots deep inside you. And one day, the results will shoot up so fast that others will call you lucky. But you will know it was not luck. It was consistency. So if you want greatness, don't ask how fast can I get it. Ask how consistent can I be. Don't measure your success by days or weeks. Measure it by years. Don't look for quick wins. Look for steady growth, because consistency always compounds. And here is the beauty. Once consistency compounds, it builds momentum. Think of a flywheel. At first it is hard to push. You struggle, you sweat, and the wheel barely moves. But with each consistent push, it becomes easier. Soon the wheel spins on its own and momentum takes over. That's how habits work. That's how growth works. Start small, stay consistent, and let momentum carry you. Consistency is the real compound interest because it multiplies the smallest actions into life-changing results. It transforms ordinary people into extraordinary examples. It builds empires from scratch, creates masters from learners, and turns failures into successes. Consistency is the bridge between your dreams and your destiny. So, when you wake up tomorrow, don't think of doing something huge. Think of doing something small, but do it every day. And then watch as your life compounds into something extraordinary, something that even you never imagined. You are your greatest business. This is one truth that many people realize too late in life. People spend their best years working for companies, building someone else's vision, dedicating their energy to organizations that can replace them within a week if they leave. They spend decades investing in systems, in assets, in businesses outside of them. But they forget the most important business they were ever given to manage is themselves. You are not an employee of life. You are the CEO of your own existence. Your thoughts, your actions, your habits, your growth, they are your business. And if you neglect this business, you may succeed temporarily outside, but inside you will remain bankrupt. Think about how carefully people manage money when they start a company. They plan budgets, calculate risks, monitor cash flow, hire advisors, and review progress constantly. But when it comes to managing themselves, their health, their character, their wisdom, there is no planning, no discipline, no review. Isn't that strange? If a company collapses, you can rebuild. If a job is lost, you can find another. But if you collapse within yourself, where will you rebuild from? If you lose yourself, what else can you truly win? When I say you are your greatest business, I mean you have assets, you have debts, you have risks, and you have profits all within yourself. Your assets are your skills, your knowledge, your relationships, your health, your values. Your debts are your fears, your bad habits, your negative thoughts, your procrastination. Your risks are the distractions of this world, the temptations that make you waste time, the influences that drag you down, and your profits are your growth, your peace of mind, your impact, and your ability to serve others. If you don't manage these things wisely, you may end up rich in possessions but poor in meaning. The most successful people in the world, whether entrepreneurs, leaders, or spiritual teachers, all understood this truth. They invested in their business of self. They built their mindset like an empire brick by brick. They strengthened their character like a fortress unshakable by storms. They polished their skills like gold shining brighter with each test. Their external success was only a reflection of their internal business being strong. Let me tell you a simple story. Once there was a man who spent his life working in a factory. He worked overtime, earned money, and saved up to buy land. He bought more land, invested in houses, and became wealthy. But through all this, he neglected his health. He never exercised. He ate carelessly, and stress consumed him. By the time he retired, he had wealth, but no strength left to enjoy it. What's the use of building businesses outside when the business of self collapses inside? Now imagine another man. He worked, yes, but he also made sure to grow himself each day. He learned new skills. He read books. He built meaningful relationships. He exercised, he prayed, he meditated. He may not have been the richest, but he was fulfilled, respected, and at peace. His life was balanced because he understood that he himself was the greatest enterprise he would ever own. The question is, are you managing yourself as carefully as you manage your career? If a business wants profit, it must reinvest. The same with you. If you want success, reinvest in yourself, learn, grow, adapt. If a business wants sustainability, it must cut down waste. The same with you. Cut down wasted time on social media, cut down toxic habits, cut down negative thinking. If a business wants expansion, it must explore new opportunities. The same with you. Try new experiences, build new relationships, travel, learn new skills. You are not just a passive worker. You are an enterprise of infinite potential. When you start seeing yourself as your greatest business, you begin to take yourself seriously. You stop waiting for others to invest in you, and you become your own biggest investor. You stop blaming circumstances, and you start building systems within yourself. You stop thinking of success as luck, and you start seeing it as the result of wise self-management. Do you know why many people feel stuck? Because they treat themselves like a low-value employee instead of a CEO. They wake up late, waste their best hours, follow distractions, avoid discipline, and then complain that life is not paying them well. But life pays you exactly according to how you manage yourself. If you manage yourself poorly, life cannot trust you with greater opportunities. But if you manage yourself wisely, life keeps promoting you. Let's take another analogy. Imagine you own a shop. Would you leave the shop dirty, unorganized, and unattended? No. You would clean it, arrange products, attract customers, and give it your best. Why then do we leave our minds cluttered with negativity, our bodies unattended with no care, our talents unpolished? That's like leaving your greatest shop in ruins while worrying about someone else's business. The great spiritual teachers always taught self-management as the highest form of wisdom. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about mastering your mind and senses. In the Bible, Jesus says, "What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?" The message is the same. The world outside may be won, but if the self is lost, all is lost. Let me share another perspective. Companies measure profit and loss every quarter. Why not measure your own? Ask yourself, what profits have I made this month in terms of growth, peace, health, and relationships? And what losses did I suffer because of anger, laziness, distraction, or neglect? If you never measure your own progress, you may continue to live in loss while thinking you are winning. The beauty of seeing yourself as your greatest business is that you never retire from it. A company may shut down, a job may end, but you will be managing yourself until your last breath. And every improvement you make compounds into your character. Every weakness you remove clears the path ahead. Every new skill you learn expands your reach. So how do you build this business of self? Start with awareness. A good businessman first studies the current state of his company. Similarly, look honestly at yourself. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Where am I wasting time? Where can I grow more? Then build habits, because habits are the systems of your personal enterprise. Just like businesses run on systems and processes, your life runs on habits. Good habits make your business flourish. Bad habits make it collapse. And finally, be consistent. No business succeeds overnight. It takes years of planning, adapting, and growing. The same with you. You will not transform in a day, but you can transform daily. If you stay committed, your business of self will grow beyond what you ever imagined. So remember, you are your greatest business. If you neglect this business, no external success can compensate. But if you build this business wisely, even if everything outside collapses, you will still have the foundation to rise again. Because companies may fail, economies may collapse, jobs may disappear, but you remain. And if you have built yourself, you carry the power to rebuild everything. You are the only enterprise that never goes bankrupt unless you neglect it. You are the only stock that always rises when you invest consistently. You are the only business where the returns are not just money, but meaning, fulfillment, and legacy. So treat yourself as your greatest business, because that's exactly what you